You're about to enter a world of limitless possibilities, a world of adult themes and language, a world, hell, I don't know, where Harry Potter totally kisses Optimus Prime square on the lips, a world of fanfiction, a world most commonly known as Stranger Than Fanfiction.
It's more of just like a test to see if I can do it.
What?
Yeah, I'm just like
To not pee in the shower?
to not be in the shower. I'm
Wait,
just like,
has this been like a
This is an
a
easy
weight on
challenge
your-
for me.
weight on your soul?
Sensei,
You're like,
I have to pee.
It's not
in the shower.
You won't.
the
whole
water's
shower.
running over you. All I can think
I don't
about
want to
is
see any yellow in that water. Damn it!
yes,
Yes, Sensei.
I'm shampooing, but all I'm thinking about is pee. Everything's so wet.
Focus.
Sensei's
has
right
the
behind you.
stopwatch. He's like, he's up to 8 minutes. God damn it! He just might do it.
He's made it to the it to the conditioner.
Once you beat the yellow test, the yellow belt awaits.
That's stupid. That's foolish.
Yes, Sensei.
No yellow in that water. Yes, Sensei.
You better not pee in that shower, son.
Yes, Sensei.
Us.
Oots! Oots! Kegel! Oots! Kegel! Oots!
Yeah, to answer your question, no, I don't pee in the shower.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Stranger Than Fanfiction, the show where we celebrate the fans and the fiction by reading fiction from fans. I am Bill Rye, the science guy, bread scientist, Wes Carmen.
I, this time, will be leaving the podcast to start a new Kickstarter for a vengeful protein subscription service where if you cancel your subscription early, they instead replace your final subscription with concentrated THC powder instead of protein powder, and I'll call it My Way or the Highway.
That was a long con. That was a long con joke, but it paid off in the end.
And my name's Reese.
This is all ingrown hairs, and I'm in a lot of pain. Hunter.
I am also leaving the podcast to start a business.
Okay.
It is a Buffalo, New York-based horror-themed burger joint. The Bills Have Fries.
Let us know in the comments which one was the best. Welcome back,
Please
everybody.
help me.
Thank you so much for joining us once again for Stranger Than Fanfiction. We're back. We're back at it again, once again, boys.
Back in the saddle again.
Yeah. So today's fanfiction has to kind of deal with some science-y stuff.
I'm a scientist.
Yeah.
Ask me anything you'd like. I'll answer it.
No, I'm the scientist.
Oh,
I'm the bread scientist.
okay. Well,
remember?
define science.
Do you know how you make bread?
You combine
Yeah,
bread seeds.
you buy it at the store.
You plant bread seeds in the ground.
This is ridiculous. We know that the bread stork. So there's
Yes.
this bird,
Right.
right? And the bird flies to your doorstep and delivers fresh pounds of bread.
Okay, now we're just floating
Loaves of
conspiracies
bread.
here.
This is fact, just like the
Listen,
Earth being
okay,
flat.
I'm sorry, but you all are clearly not scientific because we all know that bread has evolved over the course of millions of years.
What did it start as?
It started off as a single cell microorganism. Single cell bread, a micro bread, if you will, a micro loaf, if you will, and then grew out of the ocean in prehistoric Earth
Okay.
millions of years ago, came up on land, started crawling around, and today
With its bread legs.
that's bread. So our fanfiction today is dealing with science shit. We're talking about alternate universes in our fanfiction today. So I want to ask you guys, what's your alternate universe, like the universe either closest or farthest away. I want to say closest because farthest away just gets ridiculous. Like you're not even you anymore at that point. What's your like universe B version of yourself up to right now?
Can I ask a clarifying question about this? So, like in the version of string theory that we're discussing here, or parallel universe, or whatever you want to call it, is this going to be a future self derived from the decisions not made in certain pivotal moments of our lives?
I would say that's probably a farther universe.
That's a further universe.
Yeah,
They're you, but just slightly different.
Yeah,
you, but slightly different.
But like you basically. Maybe
because what I was thinking, I was like Dr. Taha.
Yeah.
Because that was a very close.
Yeah.
I say like it's close and far at the same time, but for those of you that don't know, so when I was in college, I was pre-med. I thought I was going to be a doctor up until like my senior year of college. And then I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna be an actor instead." And that's the whole line.
Worst decision.
No other thought went into that.
That was 100% of it. That was it.
Yeah, no.
You know what? Fuck it.
No, it was a very pivotal moment of my life
and
that I think about often.
That's the universe, the string theory being
Yeah.
like, you know what? Fuck it. This Taha wants to be an actor.
This Taha's going to be an actor.
Whatever.
He's going to become an actor. But then I want to think about alternate universe Taha, where he becomes a doctor.
Yeah, what's he
But
up
I think
to?
the reason why I didn't become a doctor
Why?
is because I became like the nega doctor. I became like
The Noctor.
The Noctor. I became...
The
No, I don't want to say evil.
The
I wanna-
Dega.
Just a bad doctor.
just really bad at my job. Be like, the patient
You're
comes
like,
in.
Doctor, I just have really terrible rash all over the front of my body, and it itches all the time.
Mm.
What do you think? What could it be? I mean, my diet's been consistent. I haven't gotten any shots, or I haven't taken any new medications recently. What could this be? I am very stressed out all the time.
Right.
What could this rash, this terrible rash that looks like a honeycomb, a beehive be?
Gross.
Oh.
Get out of my office.
Oh.
Next.
Doctor, do you want
Margaret?
us to get you the cheese grater again?
You're using medieval techniques.
Yeah.
Well,
This is so Wes,
I've been classically trained, and by classical I mean back in the classical ages of of medieval combat.
Back in the good old
Wes,
days.
I'm glad you're here. I'm actually a doctor of alternative medicine.
oh my god, See, I'm a
very
huge
very
fan.
holistic, new techniques.
That's you know what
derived from the
fan of-
past.
I'm not a fan of like new age vaccines.
we
and
don't
stuff.
need any of that. So if you could do me a favor, just go ahead and lie back for
Okay,
me.
And you're cured.
Wow,
I feel so much better.
Julie, get the acetylene torch, please.
And get the leeches.
Thank plants.
Well, leeches actually have some.
Thank
some
plants
merit.
for helping me.
Shut up, bad doctor. You're not a doctor.
That's true. This Taha can actually make
Yeah.
good claims.
It appears that
Shut
you
up.
need to be relieved of some humors. So
Okay, what about you guys?
It's
So
just
I'm
you
a
with
shitty
the
doctor.
same amount of training that you currently have becoming a doctor.
But you're still a doctor.
Oh God.
3 years of pre-med and just
You-
becomes
so,
a doctor.
up until your senior year, you thought you were going to be an actor,
Yeah.
and then you became a doctor. But still
And now,
graduated.
but I'm using my acting training to act like a doctor.
Yeah.
Which is the running joke of my family. But
Yeah.
that's fine.
So you're like a general hospital doctor. You're on general hospital.
I'm on General Hospital.
There
There,
you
we
go.
go.
I feel like mine, if we're going like just a step to the left, then I'd probably be a musician. I'd probably have gone into drumming
Lame.
more seriously, and I'd be bored
Lame.
as fuck. I'd be so bored because I don't know if any listeners or any of you guys are familiar with concert percussion, but it is the most stale concert instrument that exists because most of it is cymbals. You know, the like
Oh,
that. And then there's like 76 bars of rest. And then you're just like counting and waiting and counting and waiting. And you just do that.
And then what?
And then you
Okay.
again,
And then what after that?
76 more bars of rest. And that's it. And that'll be like the whole song. And it's
Exhilarating.
yeah. And so
Fantastic.
usually like concerts will have like concert percussions will have like 2 or 3 people operating like 15 instruments because there's only so many things happening per instrument.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, It's extremely boring to me. I'm sorry if you do concert percussion and you listen to this. I just shit talked the fuck out of you. But
also,
like,
thank you so much for subscribing
yeah,
to Strange
thank you for
Fanfiction.
subscribing, thank you for listening. I shit talked your career, but you know what I'm talking about. It's boring. It's not my cup of tea. I like super active drumming, so I'd probably just be a really bored concert percussionist, like 15 pounds heavier, sad,
Okay.
a little bit sadder.
Oh, I'd
Yeah.
be a missionary.
A missionary.
Yeah.
Oh.
Religion was so important to me, and it was until like my junior year when I finally was like, all right, there's a lot of problems that I'm seeing with organized religion, but if I had kept going and still had the same passion, I'd be traveling all over the place, working for the church, maybe even like get duped into being a Mormon. If you're
Sorry,
a Mormon,
Mormons.
sorry.
Also, thank you for subscribing.
Thank you for
to Stranger Than
subscribing.
Fiction.
But like, yeah, I would probably end up doing stuff like that and be posting statuses where I'm like, wow, how can you look at a sunrise and not believe in God? What a gift.
I mean, I'm one
What a
step away
gift.
from that, but less with God and more like, wow,
Bread.
bread. Thank bread. Thank bread for this sunrise.
Thank bread.
How can you look at a sunrise and not think of bread?
Which, all this to say, sunrises are
Amber
beautiful.
waves of grain.
Just amber waves of grain.
That being said, about bread,
Find your inspiration wherever you need it.
exactly. Well, I mean, Dawn,
Bread.
My D&D character. I had a D&D character who was just a baker. That was his
loaf
whole
of bread.
thing.
Oh.
He was a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
And he made more loaves of bread.
I was a loaf of bread.
You ate my bread.
You ate my bread. I'll feel the weight of my bread.
What's this? What's this prompt? What is it?
Are we prompting? All right.
Yeah,
Should we
it's not-
prompt?
It's about time for the prompt.
Let's prompt. So
Have you received it?
yes, I have received the prompt. Here it comes. So this is our weekly prompt. Every week we scour Reddit for writing prompts on the r/writing prompt forum, and we bring it here
And talk about
and
it.
we talk about it and we create a little 5-minute tale, and talk about just
Bread.
just nonsense,
It's
just garbage,
Perfectly-
just putrid.
there is no
waste.
merit in anything that we say.
Our narratives
No.
are expertly crafted,
This is coming to us
and anyone who disagrees doesn't know creative writing.
from Reddit user Greg the Gamer 4646.
GG.
The 4646th Greg the Gamer. Thank
It's a
you.
long
Thank you.
family line.
Universe 4646 is Greg the Gamer. You have a power to gift people special abilities, but you cannot gift them to yourself. You are assaulted by a gang of bullies who threaten you to give them powers, but little do they know you can add a side effect as well.
So what
this
is-
is very apt because 3 of us just got our COVID shots today.
Yeah.
So
Raise your
when
hand.
we
if-
end up getting our radioactive superpowers
Uh-huh.
from the Pfizer vaccine,
Yes.
what will our side effects be?
Well, first things first. I feel like if you're bullying someone, you're shaking them down. You're like, give me a power. I want to fly. Stuff like that. Like you're asking for a good power, and you can't just if you're being threatened, you can't just not give them that good power, right? Because then they can fly. They can try to fly, and they're like, you didn't give me the power to fly. So you have to give them the power that they ask for. But what's the side effect that you slip in?
So, let's be evil. Let's be mean with these side effects. Well, excuse me. I'm going to be mean. You guys can do whatever you want. But let's say I gave
Thank
this
you.
person a fly. They could only ascend.
Oh no!
So they'd be like, oh, this is awesome. Woo! Ah!
They can only ascend,
No,
or,
they can sit, but they cannot descend.
They cannot go down.
or maybe the only time they can turn off their fly.
Yeah.
oh, so they have to like.
Yes. Yes. While activating the power, they cannot willingly descend, so they just get stuck and they have to free fall, which is fucking scary. And let's say like it takes a second, 1 whole second to activate flight again. It's enough to where you'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
Or
I
like
can
a whole. The only time you can fly is when you're holding your breath.
Oh,
You can,
Oh, man.
or you can only fly on the exhales.
That's good. This is super. This is all for one. We
Yeah.
watched a lot of My Hero Academia. Great show. Check it out. And thank you for liking and subscribing.
My
Everyone
Hero
for
Academia.
Academia. But this is my all for one persona. That's like, oh, you're gonna try to get powers from me? Well, fine. Make your wish on the monkey paw.
If we want evil, I've got it. You can be invisible, but you're allergic to shellfish.
Hmm. Well, I feel like that's a bonus. That's. I mean, that's really good, Wes. Good thinking.
Wow.
Everyone say how good he did. Good job he did.
Wes.
Little do we know that
good at the podcast.
in
I
order
don't
to
know about
become
that.
invisible, you have to grow a chitinous shell that refracts light right around you, so you're just allergic to yourself.
Your shelf.
Your shell.
Your shellfish.
Hey.
Yeah, let's see. You can. What are other classical superpowers? Super speed.
strength and super speed.
Yeah, both of those.
Yeah.
Super strength. You can only every time you lift something, you fart.
Or you can only lift stuff that's more than 100 pounds.
You
All
can't
right,
lift
everybody.
anything less than
Yes.
that.
All right, everybody, pick up your pencils to start the exam. Somebody, you put your
Do you
backpack.
have anything bigger? You have a bigger pencil?
You have
So
like a iron weighted
You
pencil.
have both super strength and super weakness.
Yeah.
Your strength begins at a very high point.
Super speed is really everybody else just moves super slowly around you. So to
You're
everyone
moving
else,
at
you're
normal
like,
speed, but you just.
but everyone else is like,
So basically, it's super speed, but you can never slow down.
Oof.
Super speed, but it's just time is moving fast around you, so
Yeah.
you age at the same rate.
Remember, these
so
are-
you just die in 10 seconds.
Wow, this is so great. A man. That sounds like that's one of the Who's Line party guests cards.
yeah.
A man living out his entire life within
in like 10 seconds.
10 minutes. Yeah. Those are the best. I loved those.
All right,
would
yeah,
you-
this
so
I'm
much
trying
funnier
to
than
picture
us.
like the narrative of this, and the scene that keeps popping up in my mind is Bruce Almighty when he's being confronted in the alleyway by all those gang members, and he makes the monkey come out of his butt.
Yes.
And he's like, "Surely I say unto you, dudes, I do not wish to fight." And
Pulling
then,
a monkey out of your butt.
Yeah, I know. So every time you activate your power,
A monkey
God.
falls
monkey
out of your
crawls
ass.
out of your ass.
That would stop me from using my power.
What,
Yeah.
is it a big monkey or
It
is
is.
it a little,
It is the monkey from Bruce Almighty.
Yeah.
Could you just imagine then,
like
later
a
on,
gorilla coming out of your ass?
It's like-
He's smaller. He's
it's like a little capuchin, but it's just
but
like
it's still a
Reese,
monkey. It's a whole monkey.
Yeah.
Reese, Godzilla is attacking our town of Fort Thomas. What will you do? And Reese is just like,
Shit.
Literally,
Yes.
I'm
I'm gonna shit. I'll be right back.
I can. Is there any other way? What do you mean? Is there any other way? You're the superhero.
The porta potty superhero. He
Fine.
carries a porta potty around with himself so that he can poop wherever he needs to, so that he can activate his power.
You defeat the monster, and like the fucking news team comes in and is like, Reese, tell us about your victory, and you're like, wait a minute.
The worst part is that after you're done using your power, the monkey has to crawl back in.
Ooh.
Oh. I mean, it lives there.
The monkey
which
uncorks
is
your
what the monkey from Bruce Almighty did.
Yeah.
yeah, you
The
don't,
monkey is the cork to your power,
Yeah, you don't
Oh,
want to.
interesting.
You don't want to
and your
make
power resides
make
in
a
your
monkey
anus.
homeless.
Yeah,
That'd
don't-
be sad.
Oh, there's the side effect to turn off your power. Yeah, the
You have to
monkey
make
has
a
to crawl
monkey
back up.
homeless. Oh, okay.
No, the monkey
That's
has to
better.
recork.
You have to put him back up there. Yeah.
Yeah, so every time you activate the power, the monkey runs loose. So you have to use your power and also keep track of the monkey, because if you lose the monkey, your power will just keep going indefinitely.
Yeah.
So if you fly, you cannot come down until you shove the monkey back up your butt,
Let's say,
or the
okay,
monkey decides to crawl up the butt because
Every-
it is his home.
Every superpower has side effects.
You can read
Every-
minds, but every time you read someone's mind, your mom gets terrible
They
diarrhea.
read yours too.
But then they're just reading their own minds.
No.
because you're reading their mind.
But you hear it's like
It's a
"Oh,
constant
man."
feedback loop, and they drive themselves crazy.
It's just yeah, it's
It's
just the
feedback.
feedback's up.
They just hear like you hear them being
Captain
like,
feedback.
"Man, I hope that this whatever I'm doing goes well." And you're like, "Fucking dork," and they're like, "Excuse me." What?
Nothing. I didn't say anything.
Nothing. I didn't say anything, nerd. You just called me a nerd.
I did.
Hey,
you
did you
see
just
my
call
mouth
that guy?
move?
And then a bunch of people are like, "You just call that guy a nerd, dude? Don't be a dick." Oh
There's
my
just
god.
a wave of people reacting.
or every time you read someone's mind, they also can then read minds.
Oh, so it
From
spreads.
that point
They
on.
gain that ability.
Yeah,
Oh shit.
It spreads every time
oh, then
someone does
at
it.
some point, everybody can
Everybody
read
That's
minds.
the
be
beginning
able
of the
to read
zombie
minds.
apocalypse. It's just different.
Oh God,
Oh god.
and
then
when
are you-
everyone's super,
no
one is not.
they'll be super.
Once everyone is super, no one is super.
All right, that was nice. Good writing prompt.
I like
everybody. So is it time to get into fanfiction? You want fanfiction it up?
Nah.
Let's fan the fic.
I
All
think
right.
we can call it today.
So, all right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us for
So
Strange.
strange.
Never made that joke before.
So this
What episode is this? Why are you starting here?
I'm excited. We're just gonna call this one episode 5. Maybe it is. Who knows?
This is episode 4 still.
It's funny because we're talking about it.
Yeah. You had to be there. Go back to episode 5 or whatever.
Then you'll
So this is. I'm excited about this fan fiction. It is very smart sounding, which I love.
I love a good smart sounding fan
Yeah,
fiction.
so this is about parallel universes, about quantum theory, all that kind of garbage. So this is called "Who Gives an F About the Oxford Comma?
Love that song.
Case Studies in the Ultimate Ensemble Hypothesis of Multiple Universes." That's a mouthful.
Mhm.
This is written by Pandamug. Thank you, Pandamug. This was published on November 12th, 2015, so a little while ago. And then I've seen a couple other fan fictions. I don't know if this was the first one of its brand, because I've seen some other fan fictions, particularly fan fictions expounding upon the stories that are presented in this story. So if this was the first of its kind, great. If it's not, there's a whole bunch of other stuff talking about Oxford, parallel universes. So if you don't know, it explains it a little bit. The Oxford comma is basically when you create a list of 3 things, you do thing 1, comma, thing 2, and then the Oxford comma is when you put another comma, and that's just to kind of make sure that everybody knows there's a list of 3 things rather than a thing, comma, and then 2 things without a comma. And then you kind of can like bunch those together, and then it creates some really weird sentence structure. So we'll get into that as we read. But it's basically a series of switching narrations. I'll be narrating Hunter, Taha, Reese. Taha, you'll be playing Nelson Mandela at one point. And Reese, you'll be playing Peter Ustinov.
Famed British comedian Peter Ustinov.
Famed British comedian. And also, thank you so much, Peter, for liking and
thank
subscribing
you,
to this
Peter.
fanfiction.
We really hope you like this.
And sorry if he has passed and we don't know that.
But
Before we get started, I'd like to just apologize for how we're going to pronounce some of these names.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of fancy names in here because a lot of this takes place in alternate Germany. And
Yeah, so if
shit.
you get offended by us mispronouncing German names, then get over it.
But if you think it's funny, this is for you.
Thank you for liking and subscribing.
And thank you, Germany, for liking, commenting,
And
and
thank you,
subscribing.
Germany, for coming up with the words.
Huge German audience.
So let's just go ahead and get started. Listen. There are universes beyond ours and universes beyond our understanding. We may not know the number, be it infinite or simply so many as to defy understanding, but we do know this. Anything that can be described will be described, and, more than that, likely exists somewhere. That's just how probability works. In all of this infinity, exploding stars and black holes, cosmic microwave background and string theory, a single planet in a single solar system, in a single galaxy, in a single universe is simply not that interesting. Then again, at least one of them is where we live. At least one of them is where we write. And at least one of them is where what we write exists. That is just the nature of infinity. Thus is the thrilling relationship between universe 1A147390F and universe 1A147390FB. That is to say, the relationship between the universe in which you live, write, and create Oxford, example sentences, and the universe in which you do not live, you do not write, and in which those Oxford, example sentences exist not as examples of grammatical structure, but as simple descriptors of reality, as experienced by those who do live, and presumably write, in that universe. The Oxford, serial, or series, is used immediately prior to the coordinating conjunction, most often and, or nor, in any series of 3 terms or more. Some say it helps to clarify meaning. Some say it is a different way of obfuscating the issue. There are 2 sides to every story, unless there is a side, another side, and a final side. I'll give you an example. Here is the same sentence written 2 ways with drastically different meanings. We invited the strippers, JFK and Stalin. We invited the strippers, JFK and Stalin.
Potsdam Conference, 31st of July, 1945. Cecilienhof, Potsdam, occupied Germany. Earth, Milky Way. Universe, 1A147390F. It had been a long day, actually. It had been a long week, at the end of a long month, at the end of a very long war. Hell, it wasn't even halfway through the 20th century and the world was tired. 2 world wars in fewer than 50 solar rotations will do that to a planet, especially in universe 1A147390F. In a large house in a small town in occupied Germany, Joseph Stalin, Winston Churchill, and Harry Truman were hard at work at ending the second of the Great Wars. Germany had surrendered weeks before, but the question remained, what was to be done? There were more than 3 people there, you understand. Each of the world leaders had multiple aides and generals on hand, just in case. There were representatives from other major countries as well, and that doesn't even get into the press. John F. Kennedy, a young and distinguished former naval officer, was also in attendance. His father, a close personal friend of William Randolph Hearst, had called in a favor with the newspaper magnate. Young Mr. Kennedy was to report on the conference, but, more importantly, make connections and friends among the great and powerful. This was a man who was going places, and everyone, at least among the American press corps, knew it. Nobody was surprised when Kennedy received an ornate invitation to the night's festivities in the Communist Party Secretary General's chambers. Invitation. You were cordially invited to drinks after dinner with a delegation from Mother Russia. Be sure to wear loose-fitting pants. Kennedy arrived at the 3rd-floor suite in his best outfit, a bottle of Kentucky bourbon in hand to offer.
Hey, that's us.
Hey!
We're from Kentucky.
Hey! He lifted his hand to knock, and the door swung open, revealing a glorious scene of revelry. Scantily clad women of every nationality draped themselves across the world's most influential men. One raven-haired woman by the name of Zora, Kennedy later learned, wearing nothing but sparkly underwear, sat on Joseph Stalin's lap, tickling his mustache. Winston Churchill was telling jokes to a cheeky red-headed woman named June, whose head was thrown back in merriment. Kennedy stood entranced by a blonde woman dressed in a toga that provided only perfunctory coverage. She told him, breathily, that her name was Stella, and that she was there for his entertainment. Someone pushed a glass of chilled vodka into Kennedy's hand, and he gulped it down, just as Stella's toga slid off her right shoulder.
Potsdam Conference, 31 July 1945. Cecilienhof, Potsdam. Occupied Germany. Earth, Milky Way. Universe, 1A147390FB. It had been a long day. Actually, it had been a long week, at the end of a long month, at the end of a very long war. Hell, it wasn't even halfway through the 20th century, and the world was tired. 2 world wars in fewer than 50 solar rotations will do that to a planet, especially in universe 1A147390FB. In a large house in a small town in occupied Germany, Joseph Stalin, Winston Churchill, and Harry Truman were hard at work. World leaders had been gathered to discuss the end of the second of the Great Wars. Germany had surrendered weeks before, but the question remained, what was to be done? There were more than 3 people there, you understand. Each of the world leaders had multiple aides and generals on hand, just in case. There were representatives from other major countries as well, and that doesn't even get into the press. Stella K. Fitzgerald, a young, distinguished former naval officer, was also in attendance. Her mother, a close personal friend of Wilma Randolph Hearst, had called in a favor with the newspaper magnate. Young Miss Fitzgerald was to report on the conference, but, more importantly, make connections and friends among the great and powerful. This was a woman who was going places, and everyone, at least among the American press corps, knew it. Nobody was surprised when Fitzgerald received an ornate invitation to the night's festivities in the Communist Party Secretary General's chambers. Invitation. You are cordially invited to drinks after dinner with a delegation from Mother Russia. Be sure to wear loose-fitting pants. Fitzgerald arrived at the third-floor suite in her best outfit, a bottle of Kentucky bourbon in hand to offer.
Hey, that's us.
Hey, that's
We're from
us.
Kentucky.
She lifted her hand to knock, and the door swung open, revealing a glorious scene of revelry. Scantily clad men of every nationality draped themselves across the world's most influential women. One raven-haired man by the name of Joseph Fitzgerald, later learned, wearing nothing but a sparkly underwear, sat on Secretary General Zora Vissarionovich. Oh my goodness. Vissarionovich Zugashvili, tickling her with his mustache. A cheeky, bare-chested man by the name of Winston was telling jokes to Prime Minister June Spencer, whose head was thrown back in merriment. Fitzgerald stood entranced by a man with light-brown hair dressed in a toga that provided only perfunctory coverage. He told her, breathily, that his name was John, and that he was there for her entertainment. Someone pushed a glass of chilled vodka into Fitzgerald's hand, and she gulped it down, just as John's toga slid right off his shoulder.
Still not convinced? I'll give you another example, pulled directly from the headlines in Universe 1A147390F. TV listings of the Times. Planet Ustinov, Monday, Channel 4, 8 p.m. By train, plane, and sedan chair, Peter Ustinov retraces a journey made by Mark Twain a century ago. The highlights of his global tour include encounters with Nelson Mandela, an 800-year-old demigod, and a dildo collector.
Now, Universe 1A147390F does not actually have a planet, named Planet Ustinov. That particular planet belongs to another subset of universes entirely. Rather, that is the name of a television program whereupon a man from England, United Kingdom, Europe, Earth, Milky Way, traveled to other locales on the same planet, Earth, if you recall, to document them. His journey is largely unremarkable, in addition to having been recorded in the television archives of Earth, so we will not spend too much time on them here. Suffice it to say, he met with Nelson Mandela, who had been elected president of South Africa, on Earth, in the Milky Way galaxy, an 800-year-old demigod, who was, of course, a different person than the mortal and relatively young Mandela, and a dildo collector, which is to say a person who collected false genitalia used primarily in sexual stimulation, although they are varied in enough ways that one may be compelled to collect them. In Universe 1A147390F, someone who was neither Nelson Mandela nor an 800-year-old demigod did indeed collect dildos, and Peter Ustinov, the man after whom the television program, though not the other planets in the other universes, excepting one, as probability demands, was named, met with them in front of a documentary film crew. Do you understand? It is really very simple. Universe 1A147390F is a simple place. But, as it was written in Universe 1A147390F, it was reality in Universe 1A147390FB. Again, that's just the way it works.
It was the biggest journalistic investigation ever. Forget Woodward and Bernstein. Forget Chitra Subramaniam. Apologies. And forget Jonathan Dimbleby's interview with Prince Charles. Peter Ustinov had the scoop of the century, and it was this. Nelson Mandela, former political prisoner, head of the ANC, first post-apartheid president of South Africa, Earth, Milky Way, was both an 800-year-old demigod and a dildo collector. Around the planet Earth, millions, perhaps more, leaned into their television's live broadcast in anticipation of what was sure to be the greatest interview of all time. Forget Frost and Nixon. Ustinov Mandela was about to begin.
Would you care to introduce yourself?
Peter Ustinov asked the man sitting sedatedly in the chair opposite.
I am Nelson Mandela, and I am the president of South Africa. I am Xhosa born to the Tembu royal family. I was imprisoned for nearly 3 decades at Robben Island under the policy of apartheid.
Yes, I believe most of our viewers know all that. Now, what about the facts that you have just recently brought to light? Your background, your date of birth, and your hobbies.
Ah, I see. You want to ask the interesting questions first.
A smile lit up Mandela's face as he leaned back in his chair.
I was born 8 centuries ago in a small village that no longer exists. I am a demigod imbued with the power that entails. And I believe I have the world's largest collection of dildos.
Across planet Earth, millions of people nodded to themselves. So it was true, they thought. Of course it was. That is the way the universe works. Well, this universe, anyway. The end.
The end.
So, before anything else, I have great respect for Nelson Mandela. He was a pivotal and integral influence in our society, but I have to say, reading that was hilarious.
And you know what? I hope that he has a big dildo collection because I would be proud of him if he did.
I would hope that Nelson,
universe.
after everything that Nelson Mandela's been through, the least that he could have experienced was some fucking pleasure. You know what I mean? He had a rough time of it, man. If you want to go home and you've got your dildo collection and you want to stimulate yourself every which way you can,
You have earned it.
800 years of demigodness and saving a country from apartheid. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You earned those.
and
dildos,
also-
Nelson.
And also,
If you give a man a dildo,
He can fuck himself for life.
teach a man to collect dildos. And you know how the saying goes.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, you all know the Mandela effect, right?
yes. That's
That explains it.
essentially what this is.
Yes.
In one universe.
In one
we all
universe.
remember.
The Berenstein Bears.
Oh, I was going to say that Nelson Mandela has a bunch of dildos.
I remember eating
but it's
Fruit
not
Loops.
actually true. What?
I remember eating Fruit Loops. FROOTLOOPS.
Oh, is that true?
That's how I remember it. It's
Oh.
not correct, though.
That's not how I
It,
remember it.
it is spelled like the word, fruit.
Yeah. I remember the word fruit as well.
I remember it with two O's.
Interesting.
I mean, I remember it UI, yeah.
Interesting. The Berenstein Bears one
Yeah,
really trips me out because
what is it actually?
AIN Berenstain Bears.
Yeah.
But
No.
I remember it as Berenstein.
I do too.
Like
Yeah.
Stein, like
Yeah.
STEIN.
I always just called them the Bernstein Bears.
Yeah.
Oh, another good one. Shazam. The movie about the genie in the
with Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah. It's not Shazam.
It's Kazam.
It's Kazam.
Yeah, there's
Oh, Shazam is the name of the DC superhero.
Yes. Yeah. No.
Mhm.
The movie Kazam, the one where he's the genie in the boombox. You know.
Yes.
I remember it as Shazam,
It's
and so
Shazam.
does a lot of people.
Yeah.
It is not, however.
Yeah,
I've
like
looked this up.
2.
It does not exist.
so many other people.
Like, I wonder though,
My mom.
and
Like
how
my
many
mom?
of these? How many of these are the actual Mandela effect, and how many are just like? Oh, I was
No, I think
wrong.
these were just plays on Oxford commas.
Yeah.
in
No,
this
this
story.
is not the Mandela.
No.
effect.
But it does. This whole multiple universe thing ties in really well to this because
I mean, that's
There's
what the
some
Mandela
bleed
effect
here.
is described as. The Mandela effect is basically
Well,
it's saying that other universes are bleeding into ours for like a split second, and then we are remembering things that happened in other versions
What was the
of reality.
Someone
the
said that-
origin of the Mandela effect was that like
like why it's called
it was
the
like
Mandela
he
effect?
died in jail. Like a lot of people
Yes.
thought he died in jail, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like, oh yeah, Nelson Mandela died.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they were like, remember headlines.
Yes.
and
Yeah.
remember very clearly the world being like mourning Nelson Mandela's
Yeah.
death,
Hmm.
but that did not happen.
Yeah.
So the Mandela effect's really cool. Multiple universe theory is
well, I love this.
fascinating stuff.
I love the punctuation power.
Oh, yeah.
In
of,
this,
in,
yes.
in just the application to multiple universe
Uh-huh.
theory. The whole let's eat grandma versus
Yeah.
let's eat grandma.
Yeah.
You know, like that kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
writing those things into reality
It's
with
very
just
good.
the
The comma
implementation
is-
of a comma.
The
It is the
comma
most powerful
Yep.
punctuation.
It absolutely is. It's one of the things that makes the English language so unique in its writing because a lot of other languages that I've studied don't use that kind of separation between their words to like include that. It makes it so confusing in English, but it also makes it kind of beautiful because like you can do goofy shit like that.
Oh yeah.
So-
English I feel like is a linguist's playground.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is.
Like
it is.
there are so many rules that can be broken and are often broken, but I feel like as a linguist you're like there's so many like wacky things that you can do with the English language because all of its rules don't apply all the time and it doesn't make sense.
It makes me really admire this author.
Yeah.
For who has
That's diving
something-
in.
a crazy grasp on
yeah.
the implications.
The whole first story that was 2 parts was based off of we invited the strippers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
JFK,
JFK and Stalin. And, like that was the whole thing, and it worked so well because the second one where it was like
Oh, it was exactly
they were
the
all
same.
in the room trying to end a war because they were the strippers in there trying to end the war, being like, let's just calm down, like look at my butt.
I will once again, because it is deserved, but I just have to say Pandamug, the writer of Who Gives an F about the Oxford comma, case studies in the ultimate ensemble hypothesis of multiple universes. Pandamug, truly, this when I said this is written very smart,
It's because it is.
it's written very
Yeah.
smart.
Very smart.
And the language that you use is it's smart funny.
My section was literally hard to fucking read. I had to I was really trying to wrap my brain around every single thing that I was saying and figure out where I was in the
Also,
sentence.
And
Apologies
grammatically,
for
it
messing up the
all
names.
fucking makes
Yeah,
sense.
and it was on purpose. That was the thing, is that I had to keep track, and it was purposefully confusing. And the fact that at the end they went back and they were like, "See, simple."
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It's so beautiful.
I love when science and when intelligence is used for comedic effect.
Yeah,
It's such a rare talent to be able to use intelligence to create humor and like high intelligence to create comedy. But when it's done effectively, it is because it checks 2 boxes in your brain. Because if you get it, you're like, I'm smart.
yeah.
Well,
I
it's
get
crazy
this. I
because-
get this smart people joke, and then
because-
you're like, and it's funny.
You see the memes, right? Like you see the memes of people making these little these standouts of punctuation of the Oxford comma in certain applications,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's funny, and they populate my feed pretty occasionally, but to see someone take this little tidbit of the English language and turn it into a full fucking parallel universe narrative where the other because the F was it the F universe that was the matriarchal society where
Yes.
everything was flipped.
Uh-huh.
How crazy cool is that? Just from one comma.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the I was thinking about there's like a very famous Oxford comma sentence, and I looked it up. It's the panda eats, shoots, and leaves.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a very good one. And then people have made meme like drawings of a panda like coming into a restaurant, eating, and then shooting everybody up and then leaving.
Walking away.
Yep.
Which is hilarious. That's the thing. That's the great thing about the English language is that you could do shit like that, and it
Right.
totally makes sense. And you can read the same sentence in 2 completely different ways. I feel like that's the thing. The Oxford comma, I'm gonna say the Oxford comma's for prudes. The Oxford comma is for people who are like, well, I only want the sentence to be read in one way.
Boring.
Boring. Why not have a sentence you can read 2 different ways? And everybody knows which way you mean it, but then you have a fun little way of reading it where you're like,
Well,
eh.
as someone who is an Oxford comma prude, fuck you.
Yeah, no, I like as someone it let me try again. So, I enjoy this writing. If you've ever
So this was a good
Hang on, let's
fanfiction.
try again. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Stranger Than
Yeah.
Fanfiction.
If you've ever read,
Take on the top.
if you want to see another display of the English language being flaunted left and right, I recommend reading some of Edgar Allan Poe's short stories, not just his poems. I personally, I didn't like them, but I appreciated them. I think Edgar Allan
If you want
Poe's
to read some stuff,
I don't
it's
like
not
it.
good.
Go read these
but-
things I don't like. Well, it's because he's so good at English that it makes it difficult to read. He would manage to fit so much information
In,
into
like,
a
one
single
sentence.
sentence, and I'm like, what did I just absorb? Like
Yeah.
the sentence comes to an end and I just read like 500 words. I'm like, what? I
man.
remember entire paragraphs being populated by one sentence. I'm like, what? Why is this one paragraph?
It's crazy.
Why don't you just split this up into multiple sentences?
It becomes a puzzle because you're like, okay, wait,
Yeah.
this part of the sentence is connected to this part of the sentence, and this is a small interjection to describe this part of the sentence, and then this part of the sentence
Yeah.
relates back to the very beginning because the subject is relating to the ending.
It's
preposition at the end.
ridiculous.
And you're like, whoa. It's fun. It's
absolutely
fun when
insane.
you figure it out, but
It's not fun figuring
it's
it
not
out.
fun to read quickly.
No.
Because if you want to just be like, I'm going to read casually for fun, you're just like,
Yeah. And this didn't quite get to that level. It did. It had the paragraph in the middle that I read,
Yes.
which was intentional, and that was difficult to read. All the parentheticals and then dropping back into the sentence after the parentheses. Yeah, that was
I
fun.
can't wait till we reach out to this author because I hope they respond. I want to pick their brain about their process of writing
Yeah.
this because
Also-
it seems so formulaic.
Yeah,
Our email has to be immaculate.
yeah. Don't
Oh,
fuck it up.
we have to compose our entire outreach email in one sentence.
In one beautiful and correct
Well,
sentence.
we'll have one email where we use the Oxford comma and the other one where we don't.
Where we don't
use the
Oxford
comma.
Hi, this is Reese, Taha, Hunter, and Wes.
And it's just the amalgamation of Hunter and Wes, just like this being
Taha or
fused.
Reese Taha. Taha also referred to as Hunter and Wes. Because it would be Reese
Taha,
Taha, Hunter and
Hunter and
Wes.
We are Reese, Taha, Hunter, and Wes.
Isn't this funny?
Isn't this great?
Aren't we as good at this as the author?
Having a blast.
Shit, we gotta work.
We gotta go back to school.
So I won again. I hope you.
I won
listener-
again.
I won again.
I want again.
I won again. I hope you, listener,
lost again.
have enjoyed feeling very smart while we've read this fan fiction because
You're welcome.
you are.
You're welcome.
You're smart.
Pretty, might I add.
Well, I can't see, but I know. So once again, this was Who Gives an F About the Oxford Comma, Case Studies in the Ultimate Ensemble Hypothesis of Multiple Universes by Pandamug. Thank you so much, Pandamug. This was
Incredible.
an
Brilliant.
amazing fan fiction.
Also, if you ever listen to this episode, is it Panda Mug, like a coffee mug for
Like
a
a
panda?
mug of pandas.
Or is it like pandemonium, but instead of onium, it's just ugh?
Huh?
Answer that question.
Or
well,
is it...
everybody, thank you once again for joining us for another.
Well, now I'm curious.
I'm just throwing it out there, Panda Mug. Let me know.
You have anything? Any Oxford comma related scenarios that you want to throw out before we sign off for today, gentlemen?
I
I'm
wonder
hungry.
if Pandamug created their name from the famous Oxford
The
comma
famous
example of the panda walks into a
Panda walks into a mug.
Eats, shoots,
walks into
and
a-
mugs.
eats, shoots, and mugs somebody,
Yes.
and then leaves.
Yes.
The panda has mugs, coffee, and shoots.
I mean, I only have what we always have. Stories, fans, and fiction.
We need to.
The panda mugs and coffee shoots.
Oh my god, I hate all of this.
End
this
this
is
now.
terrible. End it all.
Those pandas and coffees.
Everybody, thank you so much for joining us once again for Stranger Than Fan Fiction. We look forward to seeing you again next week. But until then, as always, remember to
Stay strange.
Stay, comma, strange.
Strange.
Yeah, what's an Oxford comma? Remember to stay hot, strange, and cool.